Here. Oh. God. Woo. Oh. 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 Oh, they running. Oh, they running. Oh.
Wow, the new reality TV show called America is getting pretty wild, but sadly I heard they're getting canceled soon because of lack of funding. There's that. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Zuckerdeski here of wearechange.org, and there is a plethora of absolutely crazy and wild news to get into as we have the new footage of a Russian fighter jet taking down an American Reaper drone. Lots of ramifications to talk about that specific incident as things here in the United States domestically don't look that bright and cheery, to say the least. But don't worry. Your politicians and establishment saviors have the solution to you, and that is more woke nonsense that is going to divide and conquer society and utterly destroy human civilization. So yeah, there's that. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, which is very appropriate for today, which says, I've got 99 problems, but inflation makes it 199 plus tax, you can get that on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was originally shared by Mesh at Rush 33M, looks like a random user, who titled this video, quote, "Cameraman understood the assignment," and I would definitely agree. A meme frog named @Dalamar decided to remix this classic Americana video with this clip, which I think is also absolutely perfect. America, am I right? This, as you most likely will be seeing a lot more of this, as things financially are utterly hitting the fan. Now, some people are speculating that things are hitting the fan deliberately, all a part of a bigger plot that are meant to make people panic, but when we look at the reality of our current situation, it doesn't breed a lot of confidence. Lots of people think that's deliberate. This, as it looks like the big banks are here to help out the small banks. That's, the talking point there. This, as Bloomberg is estimating that there might be an additional $2 trillion injected into the greedy banking system in order to prevent the big greedy banks from becoming less greedy. This, as CNBC is reporting that, quote, the weakest links are cracking. This, as Goldman Sachs has just raised the chances of a U.S. recession in the next 12 months to 35%. This, as, of course, there's a crisis happening in small and mid-sized banks who clearly prioritized woke efforts and investments in order to appease their ESG scores, which were very high, rather than, of course, actually even have risk asset managers, which some of these banks didn't even have. All of this as the corporate media, especially the New York Times and many other establishment institutions, have been running full defense for the woke ESG agenda that, of course, prioritized insane woke ideas over actually, running a business, which is definitely, according to them, not at fault here. Absolutely not. This, as I think it's fair to say that the criticisms are legitimate and at least deserve to be investigated here, as what's happening here will have big implications for everyone moving ahead. But don't worry, as inflation hits record high numbers, as groceries become more and more unaffordable, as people are becoming nostalgic about the price of goods before, as of course the increasing price of common food products is outgrowing wage hikes, and with all this larger financial pain coming our way, with more crime being almost guaranteed, with people becoming more and more desperate, don't worry, the woke politicians, especially in Silicon Valley, have the perfect solution to you, and that is reparations for people born with a particular skin color. This, as a millionaire woke white lady politician from San Francisco, a part of the African American Reparations Advisory Committee, just said and recommended that she wants all 111 recommendations to be approved by the local governments in San Francisco immediately. Now, what are some of these recommendations? Well, it's a lump sum of $5 million for each black person, Another recommendation calls for giving black people homes for $1. And there's 109 other loony recommendations there that would cost the average household in San Francisco an additional $600,000. Now, if we're going to be paying reparations for people's enslavement, how about we make sure that we also do DNA tests, not only to make sure that people were actually slaves, which is a very low number, and more importantly, let's all also DNA white people, and if they weren't slave owners, they don't have to pay any of the reparations. It could go either way, but I think we have already reached peak lunacy, as the millionaire San Francisco politicians like this lady are also the same people that are saying that Honduran drug dealers are, quote, human trafficking victims, and is proposing red light districts all over California. Talk about stimulating the economy. Another thing stimulating the economy is also all the business dealings of the Biden family, as today we find out even more that it pays to be a Biden, as the GOP Oversight Committee has just released the bank record showing specifically that many family associates to Joe Biden have been getting paid extensively and have a lot of money transferred to them through a Chinese energy company. This, as even unknown Bidens are getting lump sums of cash from the Chinese government-connected corporations. And hey, during these very difficult financial times, at least the Bidens are getting rich, right? And that's the money that we know of. That's not even the shadowy black secret money that we don't have any idea about. As of course, Joe Biden, the president of the United States, is known as the lobbyist president and the man who, of course, will say and do anything for a buck as a career politician that is known for predominantly working and serving the special interests while lying through his fake teeth and hair. And hey, even though you're not a Biden, there are some important strategies and things you should be doing in this larger financial crazy crash. There are some things you should be taking care of yourself for so you don't have a lot of fake teeth and hair. And those tips, tricks, recommendations, and larger conversations happen on LukeUnfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? It's just 50 cents a day. You click the link right here, you fill out the form, you get an email, you log back in with your login credentials, bada bing, bada boom, and you have access to a huge plethora of information and value that we provide you here through our own website that I think is absolutely crucial and important, not just for the sustainability of this independent media organization, but for the betterment of members who, of course, can take advantage of many offers that we have available to them. 3 master classes that they could take, download immediately, a forum, a members-only store that saves you money, a meetup that's probably going to be happening next Saturday in Miami, Florida. Lots of things, including the conversation that will continue through our forum, which has been absolutely awesome and really fun to be a part of. We're going to be talking about who should be my next co-host. Finally, hopefully finishing our AMA, talking to you guys directly. If you guys have a question for me, you could ask me through, of course, LukeUnfiltered.com, and I will, of course, personally answer your request, your question, what you want to know. I will do my best to try to fill you in as best as I can through conversations that are happening one-on-one with me on LukeUnfiltered.com, and I will see you there right after this video. Click the link down in the description below and sign up right now. All of this as geopolitically the situation in the world is also getting very peculiar, just as much as the larger financial picture of what's happening here in the United States. As of course, in yesterday's video report, we detailed to you the larger global tensions that have been rising, with the United States accusing Russia of knocking down their own Predator Reaper drone. Russia denied claims that they did so, as today the United States government just released video footage of this incident, clearly showing the Russian fighter jet flying and releasing gas on the Predator drone, which of course led to its demise and fall into the Baltic outside of the larger theater of war that's happening right now in Ukraine. And the footage shows what the United States was originally claiming, which clearly shows a larger escalation between Russia and the United States. A clear poking of the bear kind of incident, which luckily no one was seriously hurt and injured from, but is highlighting very clear, dangerous games that are happening in Ukraine. That is something that we should be worrying about. This, as we're getting American media reports today saying that Kremlin's highest levels called for this specific escalation and, quote, aggression with these Reaper drones that are keeping an eye on the Baltic Sea, where there is a lot of military activity from the Russians and Ukrainians. This, as it's also important to note here that the Russians are claiming that the United States played a very key central role when it came to the downing and destruction of Russia's flagship naval ship that happened a few months ago, that even according to Ukrainian sources involved intel that was gathered by the United States from an attack that was coordinated and organized by the United States that helped Ukraine have a major victory in the Black Sea, which was very devastating for the Russian naval fleet. This is now Russian ships are surrounding the Black Sea crash site in order to find the debris, and most likely will be reverse engineering like if the Chinese already haven't. The Chinese already probably did this drone, a part of a larger counterintelligence operation. Now, this is a $32 million drone, and who gets their hands on it first will also be very telling. And I think it's fair to say that this saga is far from over and only beginning to, of course, manifest here with deliberate escalations on both sides. This, as some in the U.S. corporate media are calling for more escalations here, when in reality, I think we need a lot less here. This, as it looks like the Russians are preparing for a long haul of this conflict, which we told you from the very beginning could last many years and even decades here, as, of course, clearly there is no end in sight here. The conflicts have largely been stagnant. There have been trench warfare that has been brutal for both sides. There have been huge losses, and it definitely looks like Russia has a lot more manpower for this entire conflict than Ukraine, that also is grabbing people from the general public and enlisting them by force to join the Ukrainian military. Russia has done this to the tune of hundreds of thousands of people, and Ukraine simply does not have that many people. Russia is also heavily dependent on private military forces like the Wagner mercenary group that just started to advertise on adult websites, telling people to join, quote, the coolest private army in the world, which also includes many Western-backed men and men from all over the world. The group also previously recruited from prisons, as it looks like their entire volunteer prison unit has been totally wiped out. All of this as recently a southern Russian offensive has gone horribly wrong and has been defeated by the Ukrainians, as it looks like this entire battle is predominantly for Crimea, as the Ukrainian strategy is to break through the lines, cut through supply lines, cut off Crimea, blow up the bridges, and leave the very heavily Russian population there, with a major key strategic Russian naval port isolated from the rest of the world. Will that strategy work? Well, as of right now, it is not, but we will see the counteroffensive that the Ukrainians soon will probably be launching in the spring. This, as of course, there's a lot of sabotage attacks even happening within Russia that are significant and worth noting, as many ammunition depots, oil depots, and other military infrastructure, as well as railroads, have been significantly hit by Ukrainian partisans working in Russian territory, as already there have been major strikes and major attacks happening within Russia that have also escalated this conflict. This, as some Ukrainian government bureaucratic members are talking about how they want Ukrainian tanks in Moscow soon. Now, will that happen? Well, probably not. This, as there's a lot of very advanced military hardware and weaponry that still has not been used in this conflict and can at any moment. And whether it's low-yield nuclear weapons, whether it's bioweapons, which, again, there has been a boom in production, especially when it comes to some of the deadliest pathogens that are being worked on more and more all over the world, especially in poorly run facilities, you're kind of left asking yourself, holy frickin' cow, why in the world are we doing this? And that is absolutely stupid in my opinion. If you agree, share this video with your friends and family members. It is more imperative than ever. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys watching these videos, and that's why I love you guys. One more video coming your way, especially about health and wealth, right now on LukeUncensored.com. See you there.